Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out this headline. We got Hyun Song Shin from the BIS. That's right, the Bank of International Settlements. Are they giving XRP the nod? You tell me. Somebody roll that beautiful intro. We're going to find out.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $847 billion market cap for crypto. We're up 0.3%. Bitcoin, $16,904.92. Ethereum, $1,228.87. The Tether market cap is $66.5 billion, they say. 35 cents for XRP, ladies and gentlemen. We're off by 6.3%. Let's get started right now. Let's do this thing. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Digital Perspectives Mastermind group. We are getting ready to shut the door. There are only 9 seats left. This opportunity is going to go away. It's full access to the private Telegram group. It is weekly live streams. I know your life is busy. You don't have to watch everybody's video. We're going to make sure you get what you need. There are resources and tools in here for you to achieve your goals in crypto or wealth success creation. I can tell you that. There's no question about it. Just locked in a keynote speaker for our exclusive live event. I'm telling you, do not mess around. Make the investment in yourself. The Phoenix Rising coming out of crypto is everybody in this group because we're not messing around. You don't believe me? Click the link. Join that group. Let's get started. Here we go. Whale Alert announced today that an unknown whale withdrew a whopping 150 million XRP tokens from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance. It wasn't me. I don't know who the hell it was. Article doesn't know either, but it wasn't me. Let me tell you something. It's not funny. All right. And listen, we're going to hear from the BIS. And I want you to tell me underneath the video when this is done, what are they talking about? Are they, we're the retail investors. They're never going to tell us directly, hey, by the way, Brad, let your audience know this is on. It's like they're never going to do that. We're always going to have to be speculators, trying to make the most educated guess we can make with our investments. Let's look at this right here. This is Kyle Bass from Heyman Capital, and he's asking the same question we're asking, and it's a good question to ask. Check it out.
The future of crypto at this point, Kyle?
I mean, the question is, what is Tether? Like, what is this $66 billion behemoth that has its headquarters at a small bank in the Bahamas that's literally a hop, skip, and a jump from Sam Bankman-Fried's lairs in Albany? You go see this building. I've actually walked into this building and, saw a guy eating a sandwich. And I said, so this is where the $80 billion is? The question is, I've spoken with the top head traders of fixed income at some of the largest securities firms in the world who tell me we've never done one trade with Deltec Bank or Tether. And if you look at their balance sheet, they say that there is repos, treasuries, this and that on their balance sheet. Now, they also own precious metals and secured loans and things like that. But if there's an $80 billion or $66 billion now institution out there trading repos and treasuries, you'd assume that someone would find them. Now, I must caveat my statement with, I didn't talk to every single dealer in the world. So maybe there's a dealer out there that will claim they do business with Tether, but I haven't been able to find one. So I just wonder why. Like, what is the purpose of a stable coin when you have G7 currencies? The only purpose of a stable coin, in my opinion, is to be able to jump outside of U.S. and, let's say, IRS jurisdiction and lever yourself and trade and not report your earnings. And there is no other rationale for owning a stablecoin.
Oh boy, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. That's how we call it at this house, right? Look, in just a moment, we're going to be looking at some information from the BIS, and wait till they tell you what they think about stable coins and how important they are. This right here is from cryptonewsflash.com, and it is an article that says Ripple to replace SWIFT, newest GPI direct response to on-demand liquidity's expansion to more than 40 countries. Let's just go into this very quickly. It's a nice overview. It said Ripple noted that fiat-based RippleNet customers are upgrading to on-demand liquidity in Australia, Brazil, Singapore, the UAE, the UK, and the US. Thought that was interesting. I want to remind people right now, it's like, it's not about replacing SWIFT. It's about complementing SWIFT, right? It's an integration opportunity, I believe. They could split the fees. Look, obviously, SWIFT's not giving up the 100% market share to Ripple. They don't have to. Just like Ripple doesn't have to capture 100% of the market share. They just have to work. And if it works and it does well, there'll be a demand. And if there's a free market for that demand, which we currently don't have because of the suppression of the SEC case, God bless John Deaton representing retail investors, then we really don't have a free market. And if we don't have a free market, then we don't have fair market value on the real price of XRP. Now, do we? Former Ripple director says XRP Ledger smart contracts are in development. Shout out to Matt Hamilton and his family, wishing you a happy holidays. He acknowledges right here that essentially, yes, smart contracts are in development. It does go on to say down here that it is Evernode who's working on this achievement, develop a kind of layer 2 smart contract solution for the XRP Ledger that is a beta version right now. We will keep you posted. Then there's this. XRP accepted as payment by top-to-buy real estate developer. You know, this is all stuff that the SEC can't do a damn thing about, and I love it. Shout out to Wrath of Common for this here. XRP users can now use their assets to buy Katura Reserve Homes. Last month, MAG, top real estate developer in the UAE, announced the launch of Katura Reserve, a United Arab Emirates Durham. It says $3 billion exclusive. New luxury residential complex, Medain, one of Dubai's most sought-after residential areas. How about that? And then Anthony Welfare, Ripple advisor, reminds us before we look at this BIS information here, we are in a world where you can literally tokenize anything from commodities to financial assets. Real estate, wine, cars, art, and many more. We are even exploring tokenizing time and tokenizing expertise. How about that? The reason I really wanted to show this before we hear from the BIS gentleman is because this is some of the stuff that we focus on in the group too, by the way, is honestly focusing on not what this market looks like now, but what it's going to look like. Where are the real opportunities going to be? And if you're thinking crypto, I think you got your head in the wrong spot. There's no question about it. Let's start here. Hyun Song Shin from Bank of International Settlements. He's going to start off with this quick clip talking about stablecoins and the importance to the crypto ecosystem. Take a listen.
Now, within this ecosystem.
And quickly be thinking about what Kyle Bass said about USD Tether. Think about the gentleman who just testified at the hearing in front of the Senate Banking Committee who said that FTX was responsible for 36.7 billion of the 66.5 billion of the USDT market cap. Okay? Think about that while you hear this man talk.
Stablecoins have come to occupy a really very central place. And the reason for this, I think, is also very revealing, because what it shows is that stablecoins play the role of the point of contact, if you like, between the crypto universe and the conventional monetary system. And the primary function has really been to piggyback on the monetary unit, to piggyback on the unit of account role of conventional money, and therefore play this role as the connecting point between the conventional monetary system and the crypto world.
Okay, now he's just told you, this is a gentleman from the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, acknowledging the obvious, that stable coins are the only way that people can get in and out of this crypto world that exists. I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what he just said. Let me move you to this clip real quick. And by the way, before we get out of here, I think he's going to give a nod to XRP because he's going to talk about mBridge. And then he's going to talk about how Bitcoin is really the equivalent of collecting bottle caps.
But it's the growth of these stable coins that have really enabled access to the crypto universe, which tended to be, I think, a very narrow, very specialized niche occupied by enthusiasts that were running custody. That were running custody of their own coins by managing their private key, a self-custody system, if you like, or even playing the role of a node in the Bitcoin blockchain, even. But the combination of exchanges and stable coins have really opened up this universe to mainstream finance.
Okay, now all of this, in my eyes, is lining up with two things. One, we shut down stable coins by bringing in legislation, which they say is going to come first here in the United States before anything else for crypto. Well, that highly regulated legislation that I believe that they're going to roll out is going to call USD Tether into question if it hasn't happened prior to that or by that time, right? Now, I want to take you to this moment, and I'm skipping over the fact that he believes tokenized real estate will be enormous for the tokenized world, and I agree with him. But I want to take you here now to this, where this gets very good. He's going to discuss mBridge and the wholesale CBDC testing and what goes on here. Now, very quickly, I got to do this because this is new out from the BIS, but let me do this for us.
Or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier with our on-demand liquidity.
Okay, so he just told you in that statement that it is absolutely the XRP ledger and on-demand liquidity being looked at as one of the models, at the very least, of the mBridge, right? That the BIS is testing. That was James Wallace, head of central bank engagement. Now let's listen to Hyun Song Shin from the BIS.
I think that's a kind of bigger issue that has to do with the debate about innovation. Now, let me just conclude with cross-border payments, because I think this is probably the area that is undergoing the most intensive study at the BIS, because one of the things we've done is to work with our partner central banks to build these cross-border platforms, so multi-currency platforms. So, I said that each monetary system is a tree, and each tree is associated with a currency. But, if you zoom out, we're talking about the forest, and in particular, the canopy of the forest, where the tree branches come together. And it's the canopy where some of the most exciting innovations are actually happening. You can think about having a multi-CBDC platform in that canopy. And typically this will be decentralized because, as I said earlier, one of the reasons why you want decentralization is the governance. It's the fact that there are checks and balances, that there's no one central party.
Well, that sounds right to me, doesn't it?
You can build a platform. So far, it's mainly wholesale. These experiments that we've conducted are mainly between central banks and commercial banks.
Just want to be clear, Ripple's got a private ledger that is not for retail. It's actually a private ledger for central banks and wholesale back end. Just I thought I'd share it. Felt timely.
But of course, the next step would be to plug in the retail payments.
Of course,
to that, to
let's
actually
do it.
Interlink payment systems across borders as well. But the idea would be to have a decentralized system, typically, where you have more than one currency and more than one central bank. And then you can incorporate these features, such as smart contracts that ensure payment versus delivery, payment versus payment. You can even imagine more complicated structures where if there's a transaction, if there is a securities transaction, the settlement of that securities transaction will take place in either tokenized deposits or a CBDC simultaneously, and thereby speed things up as well as remove counterparty risk. So if you like, this is the kind of vision that we put out. I think the the events. So Jim and I talked about this this presentation way back in the summer, but I think since then, what's happened in the crypto universe has really highlighted the policy issues, I think, much more acutely. And I think this is in some ways, I think a really, what we feel is that this is a very compelling innovation.
A very compelling innovation. Talking about the mBridge, the wholesale back-end platform, which is exactly what James Wallace, head of central bank engagement, talks about in the clip that I played you. We can't know if we're right. I'm a speculator in these hills. If you're hearing my voice, whether you're comfortable with it or not, so are you. I'm not saying we're right. I'm just saying I like my odds. That's my digital perspectives on that. But I do want to give you this before we get out of here, because the same gentleman talking about the fact that it's very compelling and he likes the mBridge model the most there also says what he thinks about Bitcoin. And guess what? Prepare, Maxis. You're not going to like it at all. He calls it BottleCaps in an analogy.
That was a very different world if you think about it. So, how many of us was running a node on the Bitcoin blockchain? It was really the preserve of a very small group of enthusiasts who really believed this stuff. I mean, and you could believe it because it conforms to your, political philosophy, your, libertarian philosophy about this. Maybe you value privacy a great deal. But it was not something that was going to take off because you were going to attract, selling coins to retail investors by going into their living rooms during the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And to that extent, yes, there will be a use. I think there will always be a use, and presumably the enthusiasts will have a value. I mean, if you collect bottle caps, you may be willing to buy and sell bottle caps, and it's not going to be zero. If you collect baseball cards, you may be willing to pay something for a rare baseball card. But I think that's the kind of activity that would result if we go back to the vision of the pure form of decentralized crypto. And in a way, I mean, that's not something that we should necessarily worry about, other than perhaps money laundering, perhaps, and financing of terrorism. But provided that those bases are covered, and there are ways of tracking the blockchain to do that, you shouldn't really be worried, and it wouldn't impinge on the conventional financial system. It would be very much contained.
I don't know about you, but what I got there was highbrow body slam of Bitcoin, using an analogy of baseball cards and collecting bottle caps. It's not financial advice. It's my digital perspectives, and apparently Hyun Sung Shin's digital perspectives too. I'll catch all of you on the next one.